After that came the secular chaos of post-war growth. Greater Salt Lake it was called now, with over 1 million people and everything that went with them. By 5th South, Traveler gave up looking for landmarks that no longer existed and switched on the radio. Normally it would have been pre-tuned to KBYU, the church station that played classical music. But his father had driven the Ford last, leaving behind one of those call-in talk shows. "We have Howard on the line from Sugar House. I've got a joke I'd like to tell. It's about the Pope in Rome who gets a phone call from God." "Remember where you are, Howard," the host said. "This is Mormon country, the land of Zion." "It's not dirty. There's such a thing as sacrilege. Like I was saying, the Pope gets this phone call from God. Would God have to use a phone, Howard? Are you going to listen to me tell my story or not?" "I'm listening." "God calls the Pope and says, 'I've got good and bad news. Which would you like first?' 'The good news, of course,' says the Pope. 'All right,' God tells him, 'here's the deal. I've decided to end religious strife on earth by merging all churches into one. Jews, Christians, Muslims, everybody. No more bickering.' 'That's wonderful,' says the Pope. 'But what's the bad news?' 'I'm calling from Salt Lake City,' God says." Traveler sought relief on KBYU, where the Mormon Tabernacle Choir kept his mind occupied until he reached 13th South and turned right. Half a block ahead stood Dirks Field, home of the Salt Lake City Saints baseball team. This time of the morning he had no trouble parking directly across the street from the concrete stadium. As soon as he got out of the car, he heard lawnmowers in the outfield and smelled freshly cut grass. The scent carried memories of the old Pioneer League when Salt Lake's team had been called the Bees. It was the manager of those Bees, Hap Kilgore, who needed Traveler's kind of help. The stadium's ticket windows were closed, but a gate on the left field side stood open. Traveler went in, half expecting to be challenged by some kind of security. Nobody paid any attention to him until a groundskeeper, riding a lawn-mowing tractor, waved him out of the way in order to maneuver the machine into a space under the bleachers. In his wake he left a perfectly manicured outfield, where uniformed ball players were running wind sprints and shagging fly balls. Once the man switched off the engine and dismounted, he trotted over to Traveler and shook hands. "Hap Kilgore told me to keep an eye out for you. He's over there." He pointed across the diamond, just beyond first base, where 2 men in uniform were hitting fungos to the outfielders. "I didn't realize he was still coaching," Traveler said. The groundskeeper, who had the deeply lined face and neck of a man who worked in the sun, tugged at the bill of his Saints cap as if he were flashing signals to a base runner. "The old boy's a fixture around here, a kind of honorary coach, if you know what I mean." Traveler kept quiet, hoping for elaboration. "I used to watch you play when you were linebacking for L.A. You were something, you were." He shoved his cap back on his head and grinned. "Hap says you're a private detective now." "That's right. I hope the old man's not in trouble." Traveler answered with a non-committal shrug. "Come on, I'll let you into the grandstand. They don't like outsiders walking on the field, so you'll have to go around." He pulled a wad of keys from a spring-loaded reel attached to his belt. One of them opened a green metal door set into the stadium's concrete base. He gave Traveler a gentle push. "There's another door on the right field side just like this one. It's never locked from the inside." Underneath the grandstand, the temperature was a good 10 degrees cooler than outside. 65, Traveler guessed, compared with the 75 degrees of spring for which he dressed that morning. Blue denim work shirt, Levi's, and what he still called tennis shoes, though Reebok had a more exotic name for them. Whatever happened to Keds, he was wondering, as he exited the grandstand a couple of minutes later. Halfway down the right field line, the fungo hitters were taking turns. While one hit, the other fielded throws from the outfielders with a catcher's mitt. From behind, their uniforms made them look interchangeable. Both wore the number 42. Both had the name Hoot Collins stitched across the shoulders. A waist-high metal fence, fitted with a narrow gate, separated the playing field from foul ground where Traveler was now standing. He stepped to the chain link and said, "I'm looking for Hap Kilgore." Both men turned around. The one with a mitt had a chipmunk cheek full of tobacco and a gut that sagged over his tightly cinched belt. He spit juice to clear his mouth. "Damn, it's good to see you again, Mo." Traveler fought against surprise, tried to smile naturally, but his face felt tight and unyielding. All that remained of the Hap Kilgore he remembered, the boyhood icon, was his famous red-faced, blushing complexion. Everything else had weathered away. "I'm taking a breather, Hootie," Kilgore told his companion. Hootie, who carried the same weight but